Right now, you're neither one of two places. Number one, you have an online business, you've made some sales, but they've been inconsistent or not the level where you want them to be, and you want to increase your revenue. Or number two, you're in what I call the expensive hobby era, where you have an online business idea, but you just can't seem to make the sales. Well, if either of those sounds like you, my friend, this is your video. In this video, we are breaking down the sales process from A to Z, how you price your offer, how you attract your clients, how you get ready for a sales call, the whole gamut. And so if you are looking to make your first 100K online this year, this is your video. All right, let's jump in. Well, welcome to our 100K sales training. This is my favorite topic in business. I love talking about money and helping people make money. I love dispelling myths about money. And so you are in for a real treat because I'm actually excited to be here. Like, I'm not shying away from this. I want you to win. So we're going to talk about 5 different topics today. We're going to talk about sales process and the confidence, and making sure that you have the confidence you need. We're going to talk about the sales math and architecture. So actually plotting out what you need to get to 100K. We'll look at visibility and client attraction. A lot of people will be in my DMs on Instagram, and that's one of the biggest questions that they have is how can I just increase my visibility? How can I really just like get clients? Um, and number 4 is going to be pricing psychology. Not a lot of people talk about this and what's really included in it, how to price your offers with confidence, right? And how that pricing fits into the larger sales funnel. So this is our money, money, money module. And then number 5, sales conversations. I love having sales conversations and making sure that we're working towards fulfillment overall. And by the end, you will love having sales conversations too, because typically, let me just say this is usually the issue with people with sales. I just don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. So in this, if that's you, in this training, we are going to help you understand what to say. And if you haven't downloaded the workbook, go ahead and scan the QR code in the workbook. You're going to get all the different prompts and outlines I have here, plus more. So you're going to get some really awesome chat GPT prompts and other questions to really help you tailor this, especially for your business, wherever you are, wherever you're starting. Okay, so let's look at sales process and confidence. Ooh. So I have to start with the train wreck of like my first time selling. So the first time I tried to sell an offer was absolutely horrible. It was 9.99 because I didn't want to be over 3 digits. And it felt like such a big number to me. I know some of you hearing that as well would be like, "Ooh, yeah, $900 offer. That's a really big thing." And the reality is, that's a lot of money, right? And asking people for $999 is a lot of money. And I remember like it was yesterday because I remember the facial expressions. I was in a group call at the end of a beta program, and I made a pitch for people to keep working with me. And I spent 20 to 25 minutes just defending the price because in my mind, the price was so big that I felt like I had to defend why I had priced it. I talked about my history. I talked about what they would be getting from me. I talked about all the components. I did all the things that I now know are wrong when you're trying to sell something because at the end of the day, people just want to know the value. Yes, they need to know the price, right? And how to pay you and make sure there's some other like logistical things. But at the end of the day, people want to know more than anything else, what is the payoff? What is the transformation that they are going to get when working with you? And so I have to start with that because no matter where you are, things can get better. Sales, I like to say, is like learning to tie your shoes. It just comes with more and more practice. So, what is sales? Well, most people think it's the exchange of money for something of value, but sales is actually persuasion. At the end of the day, selling is persuasion. And when you look at the root word of persuasion, It really means to thoroughly advise. So no one should leave us, whether they're talking to us through direct messages, which is becoming more and more common, or they jump on a sales call with us or a strategy call with us, or they're talking with us in a webinar, or we're in person, face to face, selling a book, or whatever we're doing. No one should leave in a middle state, in this in between state. We need to help them make a decision. So it's either yes or no. It's one or the other. And no is just as good as a yes. I know that might feel a little weird for some of you, but think about it. If someone is a maybe, both you and them are in the state of limbo, and you're just you're waiting. You're trying to wait it out. Do I follow up with them again? Which, yes, you should. But you're just both in this state. Like they don't have the information they need to make a decision, and you're trying to figure out how to help them make a decision. So it's best for us to thoroughly advise, not just give a couple of key points, not just say, hey, we meet every Wednesday and we're going to have fun together. Like, we need to thoroughly advise. That means we spend time getting to know our potential client, getting to know what they're looking for, and how we can best serve them through the offer, the service, the program that we are providing. So sales has a bad reputation, unfortunately. These two images might get some like bodily, visceral reactions. But when I ask people, what do you think of when you hear the word sales? Oftentimes, it's the image on the left. Sorry if someone listening is a car salesman or car saleswoman, but that's often what I hear. Oh, I feel like sales is just really sleazy, or, there's like all these high pressure tactics that people just want your money, like you put you in this uncomfortable situation. And that's not what sales is. Sales should feel natural. Sales should feel like I just won the lottery by giving you my money. Like, I realize the value of what you're offering so clearly. I can so clearly see myself obtaining the goal that yes, I want to pay you. Every time I work out with an online coach on YouTube that I absolutely adore, at the end, sometimes I'm mad at her during the process, let me be honest, but at the end, I'm always grateful that she took the time to set up her camera, get on her mic, create a video for me because I can see and feel the benefit, right? Sales should be the same way, where someone is so excited that you took the time to create an offer that helps them in their present and future. So sales is not sleazy. What we have to get better at is expressing the value and communicating it. On the right, ooh, I don't know how many of you guys remember these. I mean, I haven't been to a mall in a really long time, so I'm sure they're still around. But I can remember being in high school, being too cool for school, right? So I don't know about you guys, but after high school, the cool thing was to go to the mall and to walk around looking cute, like put on really cute clothes, go home, put on really cute clothes, and just strut around the mall. But the game of that was you had to be able to strut looking wonderful while also dodging the salespeople at these individual vendor booths. And so that, when I first got into sales, that's what I thought of, trying to dodge conversations. But when you learn when you learn more about your offer, when you get the clarity that you have in terms of understanding what people need and what they desire, how you can help alleviate the pain that they're going through, you can actually approach people with confidence and in a way that attracts them, which we'll talk more about later. And I'll pause and just say this: if you have not done the offer clarity portion of this larger training, this larger full course, make sure that you do that. Make sure that you go to that training, because when I'm talking about the desire and pain points, it'll be more clear what I mean when I do that. Or you can download the workbook; that'll help you too. Now, I have to acknowledge this. This is like the elephant in the room. So people have bad experiences from, growing up, what their understanding was of sales, like car salesman, maybe they were a young adult or, buying a car for the first time. But also, people have been burned from online businesses. And be honest with you, after the pandemic or during the pandemic, I would say a lot of people flooded because people lost jobs, right? So a lot of people flooded the online entrepreneurship scene, right? The people that were in online entrepreneurship when the pandemic happened, it was a time for them to start teaching and training people how to start their online business, which was great for them. They when the opportunity came, they were ready and available, had their systems going. Now, all those people who have been trained, some have stayed in entrepreneurship, some are doing it kind of on the side, some have completely left. But some of the ones that were actually in online business during that time really burned a lot of people. They didn't fulfill on their promises. They didn't, help them with their transformation. And so I just have to acknowledge the fact that there are some people who you are going to engage with who have been burned by other past online business owners. And so, again, we have to be very good about communicating the transformation, communicating the payoff, but also being very clear about what we can offer and what we cannot offer. So you don't want to overpromise, right? That goes back to being the sleazy car salesman. You don't want to overpromise on something that you know that you can't deliver, either because you don't have the systems and structures to do it, like you couldn't handle a large volume of people if they all came in at once, or you just don't have the expertise or knowledge. And that's okay. Every coach, every consultant, every online business owner has their lane. No one is an expert in all things. Okay, so let's talk about the sales process, shall we? So, what does this mean for you and me? So, we need to see ourselves as advisors in the sales process. We are helping people make a decision. We don't want people going home wondering if and budding. We need to help them have clarity. They don't need that mental clutter, and we don't need to have to follow up with them a lot. They need to know, is this the right opportunity? And is this the right time? So when we are advising people, as I was starting to say earlier, we need to know both our offer and our potential client well. What do I mean by that? So you could have one offer and it satisfy a lot of different interests or needs or pain points or desires, right? So if you took the brand clarity training, I'm going to go back to the refresh spaces business idea. If you didn't take it, it's essentially helping people start their deck gardens. So a wonderful, refreshing, mentally relaxing space on their porch, their patio, their deck. So let's say I'm an online business owner and I have that. So I could meet someone whose biggest pain point is they just need a way to relax mentally. Like they have a super stressful job and when they come home, they can't unwind. They just feel really tense. They actually come home and they're still working and they're checking emails till late in the night. And so their issue is somewhat boundaries, but they need an immediate cure all, so to speak. You can have another person who, they want to lose weight and they're just looking for, um, ways to get in more greens during their day. You can have another person who they are wanting just to have, an environment that provides more oxygen or something. So you can have people um, who have different needs and your one offer satisfies all of those needs. But we have to be able to articulate how our one offer is helping them. So I could have a program that has really different people in it, but because I know my program so well, I know how what I'm offering satisfies those multiple pain points, if that makes sense. So we need to take time to know our offer well, but we also can't assume that because someone is coming to us for refresh spaces that they just want something that looks nice, right? Because if I get on a sales call and I'm talking with someone about how your space is going to look really nice, it's going to be mentally relaxing, the person who just wants more greens in their diet doesn't care. That's not their interest. That's not their desire, right? So, whenever we're talking to people in a sales conversation, we need to do more listening than talking. And I'll talk about that more later on. But essentially, we need to know exactly why they're there, what they're interested in, what they want to achieve, and then be able to connect our offer to their interest, their desire, their pain point. The other thing I want to just underscore, because a lot of times people focus on the sale itself, but in reality, we don't want to just focus on the sale. We also need to focus on fulfillment. It's kind of like that old adage where people focus, more on the wedding than the marriage, which is true, right? That we spend a lot of time, money, effort focused on the day versus the 30 years after the day. So we need to be balanced. Again, we need to make sure that we have the systems and structures in place so that we don't just get people in, but what we can satisfy them. We can make sure that they are happy, repeat customers, that they feel fulfilled, that they are getting the attention that they need, they're getting their questions answered, that we're able to work with them to help them on this transformation journey. Like you are in such an amazing opportunity, regardless of the type of business you have. You have the opportunity to help change someone's life for the better and get paid to do that. That's absolutely amazing. And so we want to be mindful of the fulfillment and, it also helps us, right? We get great reviews when we fulfill well. And we get customers to tell their friends about us, which I love. I love getting referrals. And then you're getting other good people into your program, but also it's less money that you have to spend on marketing and less time you have to spend on sales. So in case you didn't get that earlier, this is the payoff. Like I'm trying to sell you on why you need to focus not just on the sale, but also on fulfilling, because there's a lot of payoff to it. Okay, let's go into sales confidence. Doesn't she look confident? I love that red coat. So sales is a transfer of belief. At the end of the day, we're persuading, but we're persuading them to believe something that we believe something about themselves, about their environment, about their future that they just can't see yet. And I'll get into some really powerful imagery in a moment. So you're really, regardless of what you're doing as a business, there's usually some sort of coaching aspect that's involved. But here's the thing. Sometimes we can be in conversations with people, like we actually put ourselves out there, we tell people about our business, and they reject it or they don't respond, right? Which will happen. Um, and you can sometimes question your own offer because it's being rejected by other people. That can shake your confidence. This is why, and I'm gonna keep going back to the offer clarity portion. We have to know that we know that we know that what we are providing matters to a specific target audience. And through even beta testing, which is just like a pilot with smaller groups of people, um, you will know and have the confidence of your offer and that it works for this group of people. So again, I don't care if you're a florist and you want to open up your own business and like selling online, there's ways that you can pilot test. Again, if you have not, go back to offer clarity. I talk in more detail about that. But it's important for us to have confidence in our offer because if we do not, we cannot transfer belief and confidence to potential clients. So, to persuade anyone, we have to first be persuaded. And these are some of the things I just talked about. So, identifying our target market, speaking with them to learn their pain points and desires. We go through this in offer clarity, testing our offer with the target market, getting results as needed, and refining your offer. This one is big. Not a lot of people do that, but actually using the information, the data that you get from your pilot, and refining your offer. And get your reps in, like anything, tying a shoe, cooking a meal, a particular meal. The more you're able to do it, the more confident you are, the taller you sit, like, right? Like, no one can tell me that I can't help people make money. Like, I know, I've proven it, right? And so you have to have that confidence, and that comes through reps, and that comes from client testimonials, which are always wonderful. Okay, so I'm going to introduce you to the belief bridge. This is a another imagery and way to understand how we transfer beliefs to potential clients. So here's the thing: the fact that we have to transfer a belief to someone means that we are mentally in two different spaces already, right? Some of you are like, "Duh, Belinda, I got that." Okay, but I just want to make sure that we understand. Like, you and I are not in the same place. If I'm trying to convince you of something, we're not, right? And so we are trying to get someone, that's this person, to come over to where we are over here. Hey, it's better over here, right? We're trying to get them to come over. So they come over a little bit, they come over a little bit, they come over halfway, right? That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to inch them over towards our viewpoint and what we're seeing. So, and let me give you an example. So this is why, there's some nutritionists that I've heard say this quite a bit. I just don't understand why people don't drink water. Like, they know that they need to drink water, or they know that they need to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep each night. Like, they know, but we're in two different places mentally. You might tell me I need to drink 64 ounces or more water a day, but knowing something and really internalizing it and absorbing it and believing it are two different things. Do you believe that information, the right information, has the ability to transform your life and online business? Well, if that's so, then I want to invite you to the Profitable Women Collective. The PWC is a year-long experience where you get my eyes personally on your business. Each month, we go through what you need to do to get to your first 100K and beyond in business. And you're surrounded by like-minded women who are all going towards the same goal. You get the accountability, you get the support, and you get the camaraderie. So if you're interested in getting to your first 6 figures and beyond, I would invite you to apply to the PWC. You can click the link down below to find out what you need to do to get on the list for the next PWC cohort. So what we're trying to do is to get people to believe, not just know, but believe the way we believe. Okay. So there's 3 points that you need to know when you're trying to do this process, getting them to believe what you believe. You need to know where they are, because that was a bridge. They could be anywhere on that bridge, right? So where are they right now? And this is why sales conversations are so important, and I will always harp on them. They're the thing that people don't like to do the most, but you can get information quickly as opposed to like email exchanges and time going, lapsing, or direct messages, and it's like a week in between. You can get to know information quickly. Um, you Other things you want to know is where they need to be to start their transformation, and this is going to be really powerful as we talk about client attraction in a little bit. And you need to know where they could be at the end of working with you. So you need to know what their transformation will look like, because you can't paint a picture for them. You can't sell them. You can't persuade them on what the transformation could be unless you know it yourself. So the belief bridge, again, is trying to get people from where they are to where you are so that they can have better lives and you can get paid. So, how do we get better at transferring belief? Well, that's what this whole course is about. When we are better positioned, better understanding of the offer, that we have and the value of it and how it actually impacts the individuals we want to serve, aka our target market, and we're really clear on our brand and how those things all align, we can speak with more confidence. We can speak with more knowingness. And that allows us to be persuasive. Like if you're unsure of your business, your brand, you cannot speak with confidence about it. I mean, maybe you can fake it a little bit, but eventually it's going to come out that you don't know what you're doing. It just will, right? People can sniff things out, right? And so we have to have clarity in our structure, in our offer, in our foundations as a business, so that when we are speaking with people off the cuff, we can speak intelligently and we can speak confidently as well. But outside of that, there's other things that you can do, like practice talking to strangers. I know we've been told not to talk to strangers, but in this case, you need to learn. You need to learn how to start small talk. You need to learn how to be able to make connection quickly. So the next time you're at the market or in a grocery store, find someone friendly looking. Maybe you find the sorry for ageism, but maybe you find the sweet old lady and you just strike up a conversation and see if within like the first 30 seconds you can find a commonality, like a quick point of connection, and lean into it and talk about it. Oh, your granddaughter's from so and so. So is my mom. That's so funny. Like, find a connection point and learn how to carry a conversation. We are in a day and age where, especially after the pandemic and AI, we don't talk as much anymore, person to person, especially in a instance where we don't know the questions that might be asked, and so we just need to learn how to get comfortable with not knowing everything that's going to be said to us. I highly recommend all of these things, but create short form video content. So things like Instagram stories, they disappear in 24 hours. So, create something, practice talking about your brand, practice talking about your brand story. Again, we went over that in the brand clarity section. Practice talking about where your brand is going. Talk about your journey overall. So, how you're developing in sales, maybe a coaching program that you signed up for recently, or something that you're doing to develop personally. People like to work with winners. They like to work with people who are confident and they know where they're going. And people who are willing to invest in themselves. It just sets you apart, right? That's why people idolize, which they shouldn't, but why people look up to those that have gone on to like higher education. They took the time and effort to do that. Or people who are self made in business, they really put time and energy and effort into it, into the business and to themselves. And so, share the journey, share how you're developing and you're progressing because people want to work with the best version of you. You can also do reels. Reels are very good for learning how to develop hooks, like how to start conversations in a way that keeps the client's attention. And then, practice telling people the payoff of every action. If you have a third grader at home and you're still trying to convince them to eat vegetables, practice telling them what those little mighty peas can do for their body and their minds and for their ability to do their test at school. So practice not just telling people things, but and educating people and inspiring them, as wonderful as that is. All those things are needed, but like, what is the payoff? Once they act on the inspiration, once they act on the education, how does it benefit them to do the things that you're suggesting, right? Okay, so let's move into the next subsection, sales, math, and architecture. So I want to start off by just rewriting a belief that some of you might have, and that is making 100K is hard. It is not hard. It is just math. I will say making 100K is not um, easy, meaning that it's not just like flipping, or pushing a button or something like that, but it is simple and it's straightforward. Yes, it takes a little effort, but it's straightforward. And I will keep saying this, if there's thousands, hundreds of thousands of people around the world who have done it, you can do it too. So let's look at some money math. So if you're looking to make 100K in a year, that's 84 people paying you $99.30 a month for 12 months. You have something of value that's worth less than $100 a month. You do. Like, you absolutely do. It could also be 50 people paying you $2,000 once, and that's 100K. It could be 20 people paying you $5,000. It could also be 5 people paying you once, $20,000. It could be one person paying you $100,000 and you do something for them that maybe just based on the value, you do it once, it's done in a day. Maybe it takes a couple weeks or a couple months, but like it's one person that you had to work with the whole year. So it's easy. The thing is, we have to understand the value of the offer. And that's where I keep going back to the offer clarity part. You have to understand what your particular customer base, what your target market values. Okay, so what is your money math? So the question that I have for you is, how many clients do you have the capacity to serve in a year? You've heard me say a couple times already in this video that we need to have the systems and structures in place to serve people. Because if 100 people knocked on your door tomorrow, do you have everything set up to do so? If not, then I would suggest that you work on that, or you get with a coach that can help you. But you want to be ready for the unexpected. So, but let's say it is 100 people. Um, I forgot I put that in the slides. Because some people will ignore messages, and that is very true, or just not be ready to work with you. We have to always attract more people than we want to serve in the year. So as you're sitting down, you're preparing your revenue budget for the year, meaning how many people do I want to serve at what price point to make 100K, or some of you might be 400K or a million. You need to have those numbers so you know every month how many leads, how many potential clients you need to speak with, interact with, in order to get to that final number of, in this example, 100. And that difference, how many leads come over to clients, is just, a conversion metric. So how many of them convert from lead to client? Okay, so I will say there's more about the money math part. I don't have the QR code up, but there's more in the workbook. There's only so much that we can get through in the training. Otherwise, I'd keep you here for a really long time. Let's look at the sales framework. We are now moving into our next 3 sections. And this is a framework that I use that will tee us up. So when we're thinking about sales, yes, it's persuasion. Yes, it's a transfer of belief. It's all of those things. Practically, how we do sales is we show up. We're visible. We're not shrinking back. We're not hiding. We are visible. We are actively working to attract potential clients. That means we are positioning ourselves, meaning we have a value statement. We know what we offer. We know how we're different from our competitors. Again, go back to brand clarity if you haven't done that work already. We're developing lead magnets, which we'll talk about in a moment. We're developing sales vehicles. Like, we know what we're doing in terms of like attracting people to us. And then we're leading. Sales conversations are conversations that you lead. One of the ways I learned it that I absolutely love and never have forgotten is that we are always responsible for the sale. We are always responsible for the environment in which the sale has happened. Let me put it that way. So we are responsible for the tone. We're responsible for how things are communicated. And I can hear you. Some of you are like, I'm not responsible for how they respond. Not fully, not 100%, but majorly, yes, because it's all about how we communicate, how we show up, how we present ourselves, how we're engaging with them. If we go in thinking just about us and making the sale, that's going to shift the tone, that people are going to pick up on that, right? And so we lead the conversation. We help people make a decision by providing the information that they need. There's an exchange, right? Someone paying us for what we're able to provide. And then there's the fulfillment. There's a serving aspect, because online business is a form of service. It truly is. It might not be a nonprofit, but you're still providing a service regardless of what you're doing, right? So that ideally should include three things: fulfillment, right? So that's the initial part where they come in and you provide the service to them. Retention would be if they repeat, like let's say you're a therapist and you only work online, and you have some sort of contract that you sign for 6 months, let's say. Well, retention would be signing another 6 month contract. But let's say you're a therapist and you have, not just a one-on-one session for 6 months, but you also have a program to help prevent whatever the issue is, or something that like just goes a little bit deeper. That is where you can take them into another program as escalation. So at bare minimum, we want to retain a client. That when someone comes back, it shows that they really valued the time that they had with us. So all along the way, that's why I said sales is not just like, oh, we got your money. No, it's service all the way through. It's leadership and service all the way through. So I am serving you as I'm fulfilling this. I'm making sure that you have the information that you need. I'm following up. I'm doing different things. I can't do everything. There's a part that you have to do, right? But I'm serving along the way in hopes that one, you get the outcome that you desire. Um, you're retained. You come back for another, round, um, or you escalate to another offer that I have that might be at a higher price point or for a longer period of time. So when you do this, you could have the same clients for years, and have to do, for those of you that hate sales conversations, have to do less because you just have repeat clients. I think of like my hairdresser. She's had people with her for 5, 6 years, right? It becomes easier because they've built those relationships. She's done a great job and people want to stay. Okay, so let's go into our next section: visibility and client attraction. No dancing is required, but we do want to be thoughtful about our appearance. I'll just say this even right now. That's why I'm wearing this headband. That's why I'm wearing this headband. I bought this headband for sales. I know that's gonna be like completely foreign to some of you. Like, what are you talking about? Sales is visual. Sales is client attraction. This headband, as pretty as I think it is, it's a little bigger than what I would naturally wear. Um, and but it draws your eyes to my face. It keeps your eyes here. And just like on social media, you're trying to get and keep clients' attention because many of us have heard, attention spans are dwindling. So there's different things that you can do to draw people to your face and keep them there. Even if there's like, oh, that's an interesting headband, which I'm sure many of you have thought in our time together, like, oh, that's super interesting. Or maybe you had some other choice words for my headband. That's fine. But the point is, it got you focused. It got you focused. So we are working on visibility and client attraction. So I've said this before, but people aren't moved by data. They're moved by desire. That's what I said previously. I'm going to add a little bit more to it. People are moved by desire, meaning you're speaking to their desires, your pain points, you're helping solve a problem, your offer helps solve a problem that they want solved, or it helps them get to a goal that they want to get to. Um, and depth. So, depth meaning a relationship. And so we're going to talk more about visibility, both our reach and our depth. But first, in case you haven't seen this, I want to introduce you to Google's 7-11-4 rule. And this was done a few years ago now, but the data is still relevant. Google did some research on modern consumer purchasing behaviors, meaning the modern consumer, what it takes for them to buy something online, right? You're an online business owner. This is relevant to you. So it takes building trust for a purchase. And they have found through all their data that it takes 7 hours of interaction. 7 hours. 11 touch points and 4 different locations across different platforms. So let's make this relevant for you as a business owner. If you, and I'm curious what your thoughts are, go ahead and put in the chat as well. But if you need 7 hours of interaction, what are some of the easier ways to get 7 hours worth of FaceTime with people? I'm like pausing like we're in class together. I used to be a former professor, so I'm always very comfortable in silence. I'll just wait for the answer. um, but 7 hours of interaction. So those could be things like podcasts, right? Or speaking on a stage, which we'll talk about more in a moment, why those two things are great. 11 touch points. So 11 of your social media posts, or 11 of your blog posts, or 11 of your emails or newsletters, but 11 interactions. That's why if you can fast track it, it helps. Like, you don't have to wait 11 weeks or 11 months for you to reach it. You could do 11 touch points in a week, especially if they're across different platforms. So, every social media platform is different. And I'm saying social media, but this could be like Substack or anything where you're sharing information. So you have to be thoughtful about, where does my target market hang out, and what's their frame of mind when they're there. So I love to work with women online business owners. So I'm going to see those women online business owners on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn. But I have found I get more engagement on Instagram and Facebook. They're more in that like comfortable state, more willing to engage with reels, willing to like ask questions, as opposed to LinkedIn. Like they might be on it, but they might be on it for a different reason. Like, especially if they are wanting to do online business part-time, when they're on LinkedIn, they're not necessarily thinking so much about the business. They're thinking about their day-to-day work. So get in the mindset of who you're wanting to serve, and what they'll be doing on those platforms, and that will help you not only just post there, but be thoughtful about how, like, what you're posting and the language that you're using. But all in all, consumers require multiple consistent engagements across different channels before they convert. Now, this is an average, right? Some people might see something once, and just buy it. Like, you know, some of us might have seen a dress on Instagram at one point and just bought it. That's possible. But on average, people want to see more than one post. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about visibility. So not all visibility is equal, and that's a good thing. That is to our advantage to know that, because some people are going to think that, and they're going to spend their time equally, but not you. You are learning that's not all equal, and we need to be wise about how we're spending time, because we don't have a lot of time. We don't have time to be wasting. So let's be wise about it. So some are going to be better for reach, some ways in which we post, and some types of posts, and some platforms and different things are going to be better for reach, and some are going to be better for engagement. So for instance, again, if you're on Instagram, reels are great for reach. But if you want a lot of engagement, yes, you're going to engage on reels, but carousels bring a little bit more depth. There's a little bit more storytelling that you can do there, just in a different way. And there's just different data to back that up. Sales is a combination of both reach and relationship. So we want both. We don't want one or the other. We don't just want viral, which, I mean, the viral is not actually the goal, but we don't just want like reels or posts with a lot of views. We want the relationship as well, because we are in a trust recession. AI can do a lot of different things. And AI is, whether we like it or not, is making business a little harder. It's taking away some jobs to do business. So it makes business easier, right? Automations and things like that. But it provides more competition, I guess is what I should say. But also, it can do a lot of things, like create a short form reel, or create different captions of things, which are great. when you're a busy online business owner, but you're thinking about from your perspective when you do that, like how can I shortcut the amount of time that I have to spend on my content, right? We're thinking about us at that point in time. But there has to be a balance with the end user, the people actually seeing the content. Because if we're just like, oh, check a box, like I posted today, great, yay me, pat myself on the back. But the end user is like, oh, this doesn't like appeal to me. There's just not that level of depth of emotion. Then it's not going to land well. Similarly, uh, because we want relationship, we need to be interacting with people. We need to be in the DMs. We need to be commenting and talking with people. People are looking in this age of AI. People are looking for humanity. They're looking for connection. And so, I mean, when you really think about it, you went through a pandemic, you come out, you have a little breather, and then you're like full blown into this AI world. People for a while have been wanting connection, like genuine, healthy connection from someone that cares about them. That's why any business owner that genuinely cares about the people that they want to serve will do well. It's going to be in your best interest to make yourself a servant than to focus on money. I know that's hard, especially if you need money like right now, but you will win. If you can put other people first in this process, you will win. So, I mean, like exponentially. In fact, come and tell me about it. You will win because people can sniff out when you just want their money. So it's going to be harder for you and you're just going to be more frustrated. So focus on the relationship. But when you do get the reach, whether through reels or whatever you're doing, we'll talk about a couple other ways you can do that in a moment. You need to speak to their desires and pain points. When you have them, you need to catch them. You need to be able to speak to the pain. Remember, I said in the offer clarity portion, when you have a cold audience, meaning an audience that doesn't know you, speak to the pain first. Speak to the things that are top of mind, that might keep them up at night or be on their mind during the day. Like talk to how you can alleviate those things. And then as you get to know them, as you build a relationship, you can talk to desires as well. But people respond more to pain than desire. There's just something about desire where people associate with work and effort, which usually there is. But if you can help me alleviate this pain, this thing that's throbbing, this thing that's really bothering me, I'm more likely to lean in and respond. So, here are some of the ways that we can focus on reach. Speaking on stages, I'm not like paid by Daniel Priestley. I just really love his books. And the Key Person of Influence book is just absolutely amazing. And he breaks down just this process so well. And one of the things he says is you will fast track your views and visibility and your reach when you're on stages because it's a one to many approach. So you can be on stage, even if only 40 people show up, 20 people show up. Okay, well, 20 people get to hear you at one point in time instead of having 20 different conversations, right? And so it's just one of the best ways to fast track visibility and people coming to learn about you. Social media as well, it's a one to many approach. Where you have reach and depth is going to be long form, like this. We are spending time together more than you would just flipping past me on a reel, which maybe you have in the past. But we're spending time together. So, hi, hello, come and DM me on Instagram or message below. I genuinely want to connect. So, like, let me know that you made it this far. Be like, Belinda, I got to the visibility section. I'm like, that's amazing. That's awesome. But so yeah, long form videos, whether YouTube or other platforms, podcasts, let people hear your wonderful voice and fall in love with your wonderful voice and carry you along with them. Podcasts are really great because, usually with long form videos, which I love, I do them. Um, People are usually stationary, right? They're watching the video. Maybe they're cooking or something, but like they're watching it. Um, but podcasts, people might go for a run and just be listening to you. They might be driving somewhere and just be listening to you. And so it's like you're with them on the go. Here's a tip. Um, I would suggest, and I might actually start doing this myself. I've done this in the past for different podcasts that I had, which is why I'm bringing this over. But I used to strip the audio from the video. So I would have the video on YouTube. It was like a wellness and life like podcast, but then I would put the audio on other sort of RSS feeds. And so people had the option to either watch or they could listen. And so people had choice, right? They gave them a little bit more autonomy. Books are always also really good in terms of both the reach and depth. If someone is reading 100, 200 pages of your thoughts, like you can make them feel something. And again, in the day of AI, I understand using AI to write books is there, and you can evict a level of motion. But where we are right now, AI does not have the full ability to write in a way that um, a good author naturally can. Like if you're like a natural born author, you know what I mean. There's just a level of depth that cannot be recreated. If you're just doing like a how-to book, that's different. But if you're really trying to evoke emotion, it's not there yet. It will be soon. But this is a good time to still do whatever you're writing to bring people in on a journey through a book, make them feel something, give them quick wins, give them insights and tips, and people will want to follow you, will want to connect with you, will want to work with you. Where we don't have reach, but is also super important is depth. In terms of depth, is one-on-one messages. So these are things like emails and direct messages. It could also be a Loom one-on-one message or like a recorded Zoom message that you're sending off, or a message you record on your phone and you send off to them via email or a direct message. These are going to be super important. I haven't really seen a lot of people talk about this. I've heard one person, but this is going to be very important as we get more and more AI floods the market. Just picking up a phone. Here's like another hot tip. I learned this from Amy Porterfield. Absolutely amazing. Especially if you have a small following online. I voice note people. I thank them for following me. I check in with them. And so it's more powerful because text can be automated. Again, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's more impactful when you took the time to actually speak with someone. And so, especially if you have a small following, do 5 a day, do 10 a day. And it can be the same message. It doesn't have to be super custom. And be like, hey, thanks for following me. Just curious where you are in your business journey. Maybe I see you like to post. Tell me more about what you're up to. It can be anything relevant to your business, right? Okay. So as I was saying, in the age of AI, depth is very important. And it's not just about volume reach. People used to just harp on sales being about volume, which it is. That's still very much true. You will always do better in sales with the more people you reach. But there's a level of depth, especially if you're wanting to sell something that's at a higher price point. People need to feel like they know you. So go back and look at the different things I talked about in terms of the depth, reach and depth. Again, that's going to be in your workbook as well, and optimize or focus on those things, so I should say. The other last thing I'll say is that storytelling is going to be, it has been important. It's going to be increasingly more important. People, I've noticed a trend recently on Instagram where the posts they're doing well are just authentic stories, like hair down, I'm just in the kitchen, we're just talking, like we're just hanging out. Because again, there's just that crave for human connection. So, how do you attract clients once they actually find you? So, there's a visibility part, but then there's bringing them to you. So, we're talking about client attraction. I want you to create a lead magnet. So, a lead magnet is anything that you provide of value in exchange for a bit of their information. And this lead magnet should do two things. If it's just one or the other, it's not complete. It needs to do two things. It needs to add value to their life. So maybe you help save them time on something, or you provide clarity around something, or you actually help them get something done. But it also should prepare them to work with you, because people could feel great about what you provide them. It could really help them win in life. But if it doesn't help them be prepared to work with you, then it didn't fully do its job. They should be better, if not fully there, they should be very interested in wanting to work with you. So, examples of some lead magnets that you've probably already interacted with is a personality test. How many of you have done personality tests and like you're about to get the answer? You spent time filling out the 40 questions, you're about to get the answer, and they're like, oh, great, give me your email and we'll send over the results. Right? You're like, oh, I guess I have to put in my email to get it. Like I wanted it right now, but I'll do this one little extra step. Okay, well that's a lead magnet. Discounts on retail stores. It could be any store, J.C. Penney's, Macy's. Is there Bloomingdale still? I don't know what's around, but like they're like, hey, you want 10% off? Bed Bath and Beyond used to be very good about this, 20% off deals. But like whatever store, there's a way that they offer you something in exchange for your email and information, so that they can continue the conversation. They just want to keep talking to you, keep talking to you. The other thing is checklists, is something that my coach does personally. He's very big in the media space. And so people all the time just want to know the gear that he's using. And so he gives them his checklist in exchange for their email address, so you can keep talking to them about media and branding. Okay, so how do you decide what lead magnet to create? Well, let's go back to the belief bridge to do an exercise. So remember this. This is the belief bridge. Now the person has come over. I want you to notice they were over here to start. Now they've come over halfway. So the belief bridge is actually going to help us create the lead magnet. Okay, so here's the exercise. Ready? So I want you to start with point A, and I want you to write down 5 to 10 different beliefs that your potential client has about themselves, or the transformation that you offer, that are incorrect. They're absolutely incorrect. So let's say that you are a dog groomer. Don't know why that came to mind, but it came to mind, so we're gonna run with it. Let's say that you're a dog groomer, and you have an online business that also has like an in-person aspect, right? Like you book things online, you do training videos and stuff online, and for some reason, you keep getting uh, questions from potential clients that they don't think that their dog is suited for dog grooming because they have really short hair. Like it's just not something that they need. And in your mind, you're like, oh, they must not understand. And I'm just making this up. So, all the dog people out there, don't come for me. This could be complete wrong. If you're a professional dog groomer, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just making this up. But you're like, oh, they don't actually realize that dog grooming is really about hygiene. So it's not so much that like their fur stands up a little better, or it's just it looks the coat is shinier. It's really just that the dogs are cleaner, which actually prevents them from getting different insects that like want to bury themselves in there. I feel like I need to look this up. Is this real? um, but so essentially, like what have you noticed through your social scoping? Again, if you haven't looked at the offer clarity video, go look at it. What have you noticed from your social scoping, from your talking with clients, from your chat GPT prompt in the workbook? What are some common misbeliefs that people have about themselves and their ability to do, or be a part of your offer, complete the program, complete the service, whatever it is, or the outcome? Maybe that's not relevant for them. In the case of the dog groomer. So write those 5 to 10 down. Then I want you to write, and that's where they are right now. Then I want you to go over to point C, and I want you to think about where you are and where you want them to be. And I want you to write down where you want them to be by the end of the program. And this can be multiple transformations, as was the case of the Refresh Spaces LLC. Um, And let me know if someone actually creates that. But there's multiple benefits, multiple transformations to the space that can happen just by having this garden deck. And so write a list of all of them down. Then I want you to write down point B. So they're getting closer to where you are. Where, and point B is where they need to be before they begin with you. Oftentimes, this is a mindset thing more than anything else. One of the biggest things that keeps people from joining programs, services, offers that they actually need is a mindset. And so, where do you think that they need to be ready to work with you? So, let's say that you are a wealth management professional or something in finance, and you need small business owners to believe that they are ready for wealth management, like that wealth management is for them. It's not just for when they make eight figures, like wealth management is for now. So they need to have that mindset before they can even begin working with you, right? So think about where they need to be a good client or be a good contender for your program, your service, your offer. And then your last step is going to write down what needs to happen to get them from where they currently are to where they need to be to work with you. Okay. What actually needs to happen to get them from where they currently are to where they need to be to work with you? And that is your lead magnet. So your lead magnet, again, should provide value and should prepare them to work with you. I am, these are the things I wish I had when I first started out. Someone to break this down for me. I had to figure this out along the way. All right. So I want you to scan the QR code to get AI prompts to help you develop and name your lead magnet. It's something that I offer my clients that I'm throwing in the workbook for free. And in case you're wondering, yes, it's a lead magnet. It is because there's some of you out there that I know it's going to be wonderful to work with you and to help you see your first 100K and beyond in business. Okay, so let's go on to pricing psychology, sales vehicles, and sales funnels. So when you're thinking about pricing your offer, there's different things that I need you to keep in mind. One, contrary to what your gut might be telling you, or really what it is, what your fear might be telling you, is pricing too low can signal that you don't understand your value, the value of what you offer. So if you have let's say you have a really expensive car, not talking about online business owner right now, you just have an expensive car and you want to get rid of it, maybe you want to pay off some debt and you just want to get rid of it. And you have a car that's valued at 100K and you sell it for 997 or 297. I'm going to question whether or not you really understand the value of what you have, or I'm going to think something is wrong with the car because it's way too low. It's way too low. And so when we underprice things, I'm not saying to overprice, but when we underprice things, people internally can be like, you're telling me I could get this or do this, but you're only charging me this. Why? Why are you doing that? And again, we're not nonprofits, so why are you doing that? So pricing too low. I will tell you from experience, does not mean more people will buy. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I've been there. I know some of you want to go there. Don't. It can also lead to frustration. I can't tell you how many business owners I've talked to that have priced low out of fear. It was nothing else. I'm gonna call it out. It was fear that no one's gonna buy their offer service program. And so they're like, oh, let me just undercharge just to get started. And either nobody bought or they bought, but the business owner was like fulfilling, doing all the wonderful things they should be doing. And they were so frustrated because they felt like they were being robbed. I remember one business owner telling me, I felt like I was just being robbed. I was just upset showing up with people because they felt like they were taking from me. You have to price where you feel comfortable and confident showing up and delivering your best. You're not like bitter to be there because again, that goes to overall quality and people can pick up on that and then they're probably not signing up with you again. And one of the ways I'll say, and this will vary based upon the program offer that you have, but I would suggest, as you can, doing a group sort of model. So if it's possible for you to serve multiple people at once, then you only have to show up and deliver once, whether it's once a day, once a week. And that preserves your energy. That gives you more time to build the structure and the systems that you need to scale, which we'll talk about in the final portion of this full course. Or even just relax. Like it's okay to just like take a nap. It's okay to spend time with family. Like those are okay things to do. We don't have to be stressed out all the time as an online business owner. And I'm speaking from example. It's okay. I made that 180 and I am not going back. So, think about different ways that you can offer your program service um, opportunity in a way that minimizes the amount of time that you deliver, but also does not underprice. Uh, I would also look at comparing prices with similar services. So, to be quite frank, a lot of online business owners, especially in the coaching consulting world, do not have their prices on their website. So if you are not in the coaching and consulting world, you have a better chance of being able to find this just by searching around a little bit. But in the coaching consulting world, it tends to be behind some sort of paywall before you see it. So um, in that case, I would say either you join a community or you find an experienced coach who can give you some information, give you some guidance. So that's just sort of unfortunate for that. There's not much you can compare. But so looking from the buying perspective, when something is too high, it kills trust. It signals that you're just a shark out here for money. You're that car salesman that we saw at the very beginning of this sales segment and people are on guard. They're just on guard. Maybe they wanted enough to still reach out to you, but they're suspicious of you. And that's not how you want to start a relationship. You want people coming in willing to be open and learn and be transformed by you. And if they're suspicious, you're probably not going to see a transformation and it's probably not going to go well. So make sure that's priced well. The other thing I will say is that you always want to educate people on the value. So there's a price difference, but there's definitely a difference in price between going and getting your nails done and getting open heart surgery. There just is, right? Like the value of one far exceeds the other. Now we can argue whether or not it should be high and our healthcare systems and all those things. I get it. But the reality is the urgency and the desire and the need, the want, the value is much higher for open heart surgery than getting your nails done. So there should be a price difference. And while that was an extreme example, I just want to underscore that we price on value asterisk because if you look at my next point, always price lower than value. So if someone can get you 100K a year, but you charge them 100K a year, it's not really valuable. It's not valuable, right? Because it's just trading a dollar for a dollar. But if someone can get you 100K a year and their price much lower than that, a fragment of that, then it becomes more of a no-brainer. They're like, okay, I give you this, you give me that, and we all go home happy. Um, and one of the things I've heard, I'm not giving this to you as a formal suggestion, but I've been in enough spaces to understand how other business owners, multimillionaire business owners are thinking. Some people will say that they offer a 10x the value. So whatever they're charging, they should be able to provide value that's worth 10x. That doesn't mean you're going to be walking away with 10x, especially if you don't put in the work. But it's worth it. There's other people that priced at 4 times. It could be, so the number could vary. And again, the online coaching consulting world is it depends on the circles you're running with. But the common thread is you always want to underprice so that people don't feel taken advantage of, right? And it just doesn't make sense. If I give you $1 and you give me back $1, we're just doing a little dance. And I don't know how to tango. So let's talk about sales vehicles and funnels. So a sales vehicle is anything that helps a potential client know about your offer. It's just the way in which an offer is presented to them. It helps move a potential client from just interest and kind of knowing about you and what you do to making a decision, and then finally to making a purchase to solidify that decision. So, there are several examples of sales vehicles, which I'm sure you've seen online. The first is a webinar. Now, webinars can be free, they typically are, but some of them are also paid, and they might be what we call a low ticket offer, meaning that they're not much. They are under $100 to attend, but at the end of it, there's always an opportunity to learn how to continue working with them. And let me say this again, this is not the negative salesy thing, it's just providing people an opportunity. And when you are so convinced that you can provide a transformation, not just because you made it up in your head, but you've seen it. You've worked it out, like you've tested it. You know what your audience wants and what they need, and you have the skills and ability to be able to help them on their journey. And again, if you haven't like looked at the clarity, the offer clarity one, I need you to go back and especially look at the 10% advantage portion. That will really help you. But if you know that you can help people and you don't give them an opportunity, that's a disservice. If think about it this way, if I need help, like let's get out of like our mindset and thinking about us. Let's put us to the side. If Belinda needs help with something and you have the skills and ability to help me, and you have the time and space to help me, and I really need help with something, and you don't offer the opportunity to help me, that is a disservice. It truly is. There's no other way to look at it. Now, it's not you giving me the opportunity to help me and you're charging me an arm and a leg and you shouldn't. That's different. I'm just saying, you're giving people an opportunity to work with you at a reasonably priced offer. Okay. So another sales vehicle could be a sales call after a free event. It could be a live workshop that leads to enrollment. You'll also see, this is very common, you'll see a sales page where people send you a link. You can read through it on your own time. If you have questions, you reach out to them. If you don't, you just pay. And then one thing that I love the idea of and I want to do in the future for people is just do a retreat, an opportunity to be able to be away, to focus, to work on your business. And then there's an opportunity to continue on or to go higher in terms of that escalation. There's a lot of great ways in which you can tell people about your offer and what you provide. It comes down to the type of person you are in terms of your personality and what you feel comfortable with. And I put an asterisk there because you can't stay in your comfort zone forever and remain the same, both mentally, emotionally, financially, socially. You have to be stretched for all those things to change. Um, but but we do have different personality types. We do have things that we're stronger in, or things we're just naturally better at. So especially as you're getting started and just putting yourself out there in different ways, if you just know you are the person to throw the best events in the world, maybe you do an online event, or maybe you do a small in-person event that doesn't cost very much, and you make an offer at the end. You invite them into an opportunity, right? And so, you just have to know yourself and what you're better at. If you're a busy mom and you're like, look, I can hop on something, I can hop off something. maybe a webinar is for you. It's contained, it requires internet, it just requires your laptop. And you can go on to something else with your family afterwards. So a sales vehicle may be one step in a sales funnel, meaning some people, let me go back here, looking at the bottom with the examples, some people just have a sales vehicle, and that's fine. You can make a multi-dollar business with just one thing and get good at it and be able to sell it and sell it well. There's no shame or shade in that. For other people, they like to have what we call a sales funnel, meaning that there's a little bit more of a process that people can go through to work with you on different levels. And I'll show you an example, an image in just a moment. And a sales funnel also helps you diversify your offers, both the amount of time that people work with you, the amount of money that you're charging, but can also be a different topic. So, in I'm let's say, let's going back to the person who's the the refresh spaces person. So maybe you do coaching and you teach people how to transform their space so that they can have that mentally relaxing place when they come home, like their hideaway from the busyness of the world. You might also sell seeds or sell flower pots or sell different products. So those are two very different things, and they both make sense under your online business. And it's possible that some people will find you just from the selling seeds and selling the flower pots and like you, like your customer service, and then want to join your coaching program, or the opposite. They find your coaching program, they're really inspired by your Instagram photos, and they're like, hey, I need seeds to go along with this program. Let me buy her seeds. So you can have a diversity of offerings, and funnels allow you to do that. It's also called a funnel because many people start at the top, uh, but fewer people convert into buyers. So I'll give you an example. My coach, who I absolutely love, I've told you he's in media. He has a really great YouTube channel. And last year, over 8 million people saw his YouTube videos, which is great. But in the program, there's less than 100 of us, and he's still a multimillionaire. So I say that to say a number of things. You don't have to have a lot of followers. You can make a lot of money from a smaller group of people. And it doesn't have to be 100 people. It could be 20 people. It could be 5 people. You still make a lot of money. But also, there's always going to be more people that see you versus the number of people that buy. And the other thing I would say is that the funnel describes the stages of decision making. So let me get to this funnel because I've been talking about it. Here's an example. This is just one example. Funnels can look many different ways. So this is just one example. But again, many people enter at the top and fewer people convert into buyers. So at the top is awareness. It might be through social media videos or a podcast, right? Some of you are becoming aware of me through this video. And then there's an interest, there's an opportunity to opt into a lead magnet, something where there's exchange of value for an email, and you're on their email list and you're getting to know them and you're getting to learn about their quirks and what they're about and what they want to do, how they can help you, etc. Number three would be like maybe someone opts into a 7-day challenge. They're like, hey, okay, it's not too much money to do this challenge. It's probably going to be what we call a low ticket offer, so under $100. So I can opt into this challenge and get to learn a little bit more about this person and whether or not I want to work with them. And then in the challenge, you learn about an opportunity to become um, a member of a 12-week program that they have. And that's their offer, right? So their offer, again, going back to the offer clarity, is a 12-week challenge. So that's great. They figured out the pain points that their target market has and their desires, and they found that the best way to solve it is within a 12-week challenge, not a 6-week challenge, because they figured out they need a little bit more time to work with them, or clients need a little bit more time to believe that they can. So they settled on 12 weeks. The funnel is, how do I get people from awareness to my offer? Does that make sense? Let me know in the comments if that doesn't make sense. Now I'll make another video explaining it. Truly, let me know any questions you have in the comments. But funnels are just the way we get people to our offer. So the offer is not changing. Put it this way, the offer is not changing. It's just, how do we get people to our offer? We could have a sales page, going back to here. We can have a sales page and we're just like, hey, join my 12-week offer. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. People do that. But some people want to get to know you a little bit more before they sign up for a 12-week program. And so some people are going to want to go through this process where they pay a little bit and they're getting to know you and then make a final decision. So it's just another way for people to get to know us. So the last thing I'll say about sales funnels is that you always want to start with one offer and refine it. So in the an example that I just gave, there was a 7-week challenge. I would not suggest that you have a 7-week challenge for a new beginning online entrepreneur. I would not suggest that you have a 7-week challenge and a 12-week program at the same time. You need to work the challenge, run it a few times, get feedback from people, get testimonials as well, but refine that challenge. Get to know what's working well, what's not working well, so that you can make those improvements, because the 7-week challenge is a preview to you. If people don't like what you're offering or what you're doing or the way in which you're doing it in the 7-day challenge, then they're probably not going to convert into the next level, meaning that they're probably not going to pay for your 12-week offer. And you'll be frustrated running the 7-day challenge because you're hoping people will get to know, like, and trust you and sign up for your 12-week offer. But the issue isn't the offer, the issue is the experience that they had with your brand during the 7-day challenge. So it's really important to work one offer first, refine it until it's really good, and then bring people over. Now, how long that takes, that's going to take you working with the coach or with another mentor to really understand and think about, when to start bringing people into a higher ticket offer, when you escalate them into that higher ticket offer. But you get good at one thing. Otherwise, you get a brand reputation where what you offer is subpar, and we don't want that either. Okay, so work the offer, grow the structure, grow the systems, and then start a second offer if you want a second offer. Some of you will be very happy running 3, 4, 5-day challenges all year long and just be good. You're like, I don't want to work with people long term. Like, I'm just good doing a quick thing and we're in, we're out. So again, what is your personality? What is your lifestyle like right now? What's going on? What can you handle reasonably? So let's talk about sales conversations and fulfillment. This is one of my favorite areas overall. So, first of all, I'm going to start with the most common mistakes that I see in sales, and that is sharing data. Mm. Sharing data instead of speaking to desire. I've said this many times before, but it's so important that I have to underscore it. Explaining instead of inviting. Remember what I said at the beginning about me and my first sales experience justifying my price because I had a lot of fear about my $9.99 offer. So I took up people's times. Did any of them buy? No. No. They all left confused. I can still see their faces. They all left very confused, maybe a little traumatized as well. But yeah, nobody bought. Um, Focusing on you instead of them. This can this can come about in several different ways. We focus on ourselves when we focus on our insecurities, right? Like the fear part. We also focus on ourselves rather than the person who's on the other side of the screen or sitting next to us that we're supposed to be talking to. When we don't make it a conversation, when we just rattle off a list. And I get that this can also come from insecurities and just being like really nervous on a call or in person with someone. Maybe you're having that retreat, you're making the offer to people, and you can have like a mental checklist, like, okay, like talk about this first and talk about like all the things they get here and talk about all the details. We can get people lost in the details when we're just so focused on us and us getting through our points rather than having a conversation, sitting back and having a conversation. You are about to transform someone's life. Get to know them a little bit. What is going on with you? How can I be of service? What questions do you have about the program? I'm curious what you have going on right now. Again, if you're the dog groomer, tell me about little Jojo or whatever the dog's name. Yeah, so that's how long have you had Jojo? Why did you get Jojo? Um, what do you guys like to do together? Are there other people at home that play with Jojo? What is Jojo like? Like just have a conversation. Sales becomes so easy when we make it less about the sale and more about the person. Just get to know them. You will naturally, as you're talking about JoJo or whatever your offer is, you will naturally see how your offer will help them. It will come up. It will absolutely come up. And so the best thing I can say with sales conversations is not to focus on you, not to do a lot of talking, but do more asking before anything else. And the asking, the last part is asking for the sale before you're connecting with them. So, I mean, you're there for a reason. You're there for the sale. You both are there because of the program or the offer, the service you provide, right? That's not. It's not like you're sneak attacking someone. Like they hopped on a call, you hopped on a call because you're both interested in this potential relationship. But don't just like be like, hey, do you want to buy? Connect with them first on a human level. Remember, I said we're in a trust recession and people want connection. And you want to speak to their desires, their pain points. That comes out more and more on a call. So I just have to underscore this because that's what I see most often with especially new online business owners. And I get it. We're in business and we're passionate about what we are doing, or at least we should be. And we know that we have the ability to help other people. But the conversation always needs to be about the person on the opposite side. So, sales is about persuasion. I've said that many times. And we can persuade in several different ways. And one of them is how we dress. Our appearance shows that we are paying attention to different details, that we are mindful of them, that we respect the space, that we respect their time, right? It also can make you as the person leading the sales conversation feel more confident. You can absolutely feel more confident when you show up as your best version, or at least best version for that day, right? And always have something ready, especially tops. Right now, I am working from a home environment. And so having nice press tops, because you just never know when there's going to be an opportunity to meet people. We want to be ready before the opportunity comes. If you prepare yourself before the opportunity, you will never have to worry when the opportunity comes. At that point, you're just waiting and you're sharpening your skills and tools and you're getting better at it. But opportunities come to all of us. It's just whether or not we're prepared for them. Okay, let's move on to talking a little bit more about persuasion. You might remember this picture from the very beginning. He said that I was a too cool for school high schooler walking around the mall and trying to strap my stuff while also avoiding the salespeople at the vendor stands. Now, my experience would have been different had they understood the skills that I've been talking to you about today. And their experiences would have been different had they also understood the skills of persuasion. So let me give you a couple examples. If I tomorrow had a stand in the mall and I was selling hair straighteners, how it might look a little different because I really want to underscore this persuasion. We're painting a picture of what life could be. Now, a hair straightener is a hair straightener. Hair straightener is a hair straightener is a hair straightener, but it's just how we paint the picture. Ready? You ready for this? Instead of having just hair straighteners in neon colors on the side, I would have a sign that says, "Feel confident before your next interview." Who doesn't want that? I mean, maybe not you, you're an online business owner, but if you're going for an interview, who doesn't want to feel confident? And a hair straightener could help you. It could help you tame frizzies. It could help you give a nice little bump, a nice little curl. Maybe you want to have a little curl in your hair. But yeah, that could help. How about this? You could be the hottest lady at your high school reunion. How about that? Yeah, Bob, it's been 10, 15 years, but you know what? Still look good. I do. I do. You can have a nice little swoop, nice little hairstyle with your hair straightener. And that's all. It's just painting a picture. It's just words. We're in the business of selling words. Just sign on the side. How about this? Get salon quality shine in minutes, not hours. Oh, you're telling me I don't have to drive to a salon. I don't have to spend hours, and I don't have to spend money. Don't tell my beautician that. But you're telling me I can do all of this at the convenience of my own home. I don't have to wait to find a time in her style seat booking. I can just do this at home. Oh, yeah. How much is that? Okay, yeah, okay. Yeah. These are just painting pictures. And it's the same thing. It's the same product. And it really can do all three things. But we are in the business of selling words. So it's our job to lead the sales conversation and to help people see what things could be with our help. Now, I want to get to one last slide. These are some common objections that usually come up regardless of what people are selling. And I want to talk about it for a few minutes. Now, based upon what you're selling, the service, the program, the offer, you might have other common objections. So it's going to be your responsibility to do a deeper dive. I have an AI prompt that will help you in the workbook as well, but do a deeper dive to understand what might come up in a conversation, because some of the confidence that we desire is just having a sense of the questions that might come up. We can never predict everything, right? And we just have to get comfortable with that. But just having a sense of what might kind of come up. So I can't tell you all of the objections that might happen to you on a sales call, but here are three, or some of the most common ones. One is it's too expensive. If someone says something is too expensive, and it genuinely is not, like you're not a shark, like you're being fair, based upon like industry standards and what you offer, and you're shopping around to learn more about what people are selling and comparing prices, then what that means is they don't understand the value. So rather than argue with someone about price, rather than uh, defending your price for 20 to 25 minutes, talk to them about the value. You say, that's interesting that you say that. In this, we can actually help you do X, Y, and Z. So you focus on the value. You don't respond based upon the price. You transition the call and you focus based on the value. If someone says they don't have time, there's two different things going on there. One, it could be they also don't understand the value, or they don't believe it's valuable. But you can handle this in a couple of ways. So you can respond to the value part, as I just said, but also, and I have some examples and suggestions in the workbook as well. General ones, again, you have to tailor it. But you can also be flexible in what you're offering. One of the best things to do in sales is to anticipate the objections and adjust your offer based upon it. So, for example, If you have a group consulting or a group program or a doggy daycare or something, and someone's saying they just don't have time to drive out to the doggy daycare or to join your group coaching program, there's some things that you can do to adjust. So maybe your offer in the case of doggy daycare includes transportation. You're willing to pick up little Jojo. Little Jojo can play with other little Jojos in the back. And there's a camera there that all dog owners can like key into so they see how their little doggie's doing. And they can see the whole handoff process once they get to the place for them to get their fur. Or maybe you drive out to them. Maybe you don't want all that. You just drive out to them, and maybe it's a little extra bump up. Maybe it's extra, like you account for, gas and mileage, all those things. And there's some pricing psychology around how you do that. But you can account for it in the price. Or, in the case of like a synchronous sort of program, you can offer either limited time replays of videos or, lifetime access or for the time duration that they're in the program. The reason why I said limited time, and I wouldn't use this in every model, every offer, but sometimes you do wanna have something that's limited time, especially if you're, like, in the 7-day, for example, the 7-day challenge that I showed you in the funnel, because when something is forever, people delay, and if we need people to know the information in order to do the work, in order to be prepared for the next call, then sometimes it's better to offer a limited time replay because scarcity produces urgency. When something is not going to be around for a long time, it it advances on someone's to do list to get it done. Another common objection is I'm not sure, or let me think about it, or I need to speak with X person in my X person. So that could be a spouse or a friend or my mom or whomever. Not in the context of minors, but I just want to speak with somebody else to get their thoughts. That is also something where typically they don't understand the value. So again, you can reiterate the value while why this is such a steal, why this is just a great opportunity, but also you can address the objection early. Maybe in again, I go back to a group coaching model, um, or maybe it's like a group therapy model. You can bring a plus one, right? So you can have someone who is very important to them that they want to talk to, they can also join for the same price or something like that. So you can be creative in how you adjust objections ahead of time. So um, you lessen them saying no, right? It's not about like it's not about being salesy in the way that you're just trying to get the sale. It's that people stand in their own way. We all do. And if someone has the means and opportunity to have a better life, and all it took was you adjusting your offer to be like, "Yeah, your husband can come, your husband can join." Then why not? Why not allow for that? It doesn't cost you more or, whatever the concession might be. And now I'm not saying make a concession for everyone, but have a standard process where you're just adjusting or have a standard thing where you're just adjusting your offering because you're anticipating what the objections are. Now, last common objection that I typically have seen is just, "I'm not ready," right? And that could be very true, right? It might be that someone is truly not ready mentally, emotionally, financially. That's where I would want to uncover in a conversation why they believe they're not ready. Like, "Oh, that's really interesting that you say that. Why do you believe you're not ready for the program yet?" And it could be that they have a life circumstance. Maybe they have to be a caregiver, um, recently for like their parents, and they know it's just not going to work, or but the point is you need to understand. Don't just take objections for objections. Get an understanding of what they mean, because I'm not ready can mean something very different for 25 different people. So you don't want to assume, these are like rules of communication, right? You never want to assume you understood what someone meant. You ask a little probing question so that when you answer, you're actually asking what they meant rather than what you thought they were saying, if that makes sense. So making those slight adjustments to your sales pages, and you're not having a section that says, "Here, let me address your common objections." It's making sure that people know like they can watch things at any time they want to, or bringing someone in, or offering a payment plan. You minimize those objections from coming up, the likelihood that they'll come up. Okay, so that is our sales module. I hope that you're excited and that you're feeling fired up and pumped up to have sales conversations and to go forth and to make your first 100K. I'm curious, what was the biggest part for you? What did you learn? What was your aha moments? What was your takeaways? What can you do today? What can you do today to make sure that you are advancing towards the number of people that you want to hit in your money map? Tell me down below. What questions do you have? How can I still be of service to you? Tell me. I would love to make a couple of follow up videos where I'm answering your questions in greater detail, especially the questions that keep coming up. So let me know down below. I am here to partner with you and I want to see you when I genuinely do. And so stay tuned for the next video, and that is the scaling. Once we've got our sales down, we're now ready to scale to our 100K years and beyond.